Hello everyone. So today let's talk about script editor, and I wanted to share my experience and give you some tips, I guess. And I basically wanted to talk about whether you should be using a script editor to manage your scripts, or you should directly write your scripts inline. Now, of course, there are pros and cons, and I will, of course, share how I do it. So in Jira, of course, data center, you have an option to basically write scripts inline. For example, you may be working on a workflow validator or a post function, or maybe you're working on behavior. So basically, anywhere you're writing a script in Scriptrunner, you have the option to just write the script inline. And it is actually very convenient because you have the script in front of you, and when the script is in front of you, you can modify it, right? So definitely it has a lot of benefits, and you don't really have to dig and look for the script, like where exactly to go to modify the script. And that is the only benefit, that it is convenient. But if you're using a script editor, then you basically have a central location where you can find all the scripts, right? And I thought I'll probably just talk about it, maybe show you a little bit, like things I do. And uh, script editor, if you are not familiar, it is basically a place where you can go to create different folders and different scripts that you can organize. And of course, if you're writing scripts, then of course, then you have different folders. Maybe you can create a separate folder for post functions, separate folder for behavior, separate folder for whatever, right? And you can of course organize your scripts nicely. Now, good thing about Jira is, depending upon how your Jira is configured, if you have like a script root defined, then you can actually pull in those different locations, like all the scripts that are stored on the server. And it has like some benefits. I mean, not like a lot of benefits, but one of the benefits is that if it is somewhere centrally stored, then that folder, that location can be version controlled, or maybe you can take a backup of it. So that is of course a clear benefit. Now, uh, let me show you something. If you have configured your script root, and of course, if you're doing local development, you can see that your script root can be defined in your pom.xml. So right now, my script roots is defined, and I have a couple of locations. So basically, whenever I'm writing scripts, I can pull in my scripts from these locations. So basically, these locations will also should appear in your local dev environment, or maybe if you have this set up on your production environment. Right now, for example, right now this is one of the location where I can just select, and I can find all my scripts. So if of course this is configured. Now if you have like these locations, then you can simply see all these scripts, and then of course you use it somewhere, or wherever you want. Now this is something that I personally prefer. Now the reason is that because this folder is nothing but our location on a server, or maybe somewhere on your local environment, where you can of course version control it, and it is on the server. You can also take a backup of it. These two are totally different things, but it is important, right? Because you don't really want your scripts to go away, or if you made some changes accidentally. For example, if you're doing some inline edits, or if the script is written using inline editor, then it is a bit difficult, right? It is I mean, it may be convenient, but at the same time, if you are the one who is in control of the Jira instance that you have set up from the beginning, then you can start thinking about these things from day one, right? Or maybe if you have not, just start planning for it. So whenever I work for my client, not always, but if I'm doing some long engagements, then I try to move these scripts from those places, like various like workflow editors. Or no, I mean, not workflow editors, workflow conditions and validators. I just move them. I try to move them to this particular location so that I can manage it. Now, of course, when it comes to naming convention, sometimes I just use the script to tell me what this script is doing. If the script is a post function, then I just prefix it with post function. Sometimes it is better to just use folder. It is up to you. You can do whatever you want, but I think folder is probably better because you know clearly by looking at the folder that okay, I'll find all the post functions here. I'll find all the validators here. Now, talking about the name of your script, try not to name it again. Personally, I prefer to name the script on the basis of what the script is doing, so that I know okay, this script is doing this. And sometimes I also name, not always, but wherever applicable, if let us say you have created a listener or a job or a behavior, in the name of that particular function, or that, let us say if you have a job, in the name, you can use a script which is actually coming from your folder, but in the name of that particular job or a listener, just mention maybe a ticket number if you have a ticket number, like maybe you're working on a requirement and those requirement or those changes are coming from some Jira project. So that ticket number, that reference is always helpful. Now, of course, this approach is not always, although in a long run, this is actually a better way of doing it, from my opinion, like because you're just managing it separately, right? But of course, it can take a bit longer for someone who has maybe just joined your team of Jira admins or consultants, because you have to tell them, okay, you will find all the scripts here, because they might be used to just finding the scripts inline. Now, the reason is, and of course, doing this is fine, but sometimes when you are doing this, you have to basically do two things. Let us say you have written a job or a workflow validator or condition. Now, of course, you want to take a look at the log, right? And of course, you can see the log, but you don't really have access to the script straight away. So you have to keep one tab open where you have access to the script. Then other tab will give you access to the log. So you have to basically shuffle, which you anyways have to do. But here you have to make sure that this is the exact script that is being used in that workflow condition, because you don't really want to modify a script which is being used somewhere else. So that is in a way a disadvantage. Maybe here somewhere on the script editor, there should be some indication, which I know I don't know how it will be, how it can, I'm sure it can be done, but the thing is that it is very easy here to modify the script. And the moment you modify the script, you in a way are changing the behavior of that workflow condition or a validator or a post function. So it has benefits, but you have to be very sure and you need to know what you're doing, because anyone who has Jira admin rights can come and they can modify. So that is in a way a bit, it may not be an issue, but you just have to be careful. And if you compare this with, looking at the workflow and then modifying it, there are of course steps involved, and of course there is an audit. But at the same time, if you're modifying a script, an inline script from within your workflow, then you know for sure that you're doing it for that workflow and for that particular project. But apart from that, I think if you are an experienced Jira admin, then using this approach of using script editor or some custom location on your server where you have all the scripts, I think in a long run, it is much more beneficial to use this kind of an approach. And of course, I always say that not rely, but I always say that document it somewhere. But at the same time, don't really try to rely only on the documentation, because you can't really keep up with the documentation. It is better to just follow some structure here, so that this structure will make it very clear for everyone, so that whenever they open your Jira instance, if they have to modify a script, if they have to do some troubleshooting, they can do it. And of course, I never really, not always, but in most cases, these scripts that are on production, you should not really write these scripts on production. And again, you should have like a test environment where you should test everything. I personally prefer my own local dev environment where I write all my scripts. So I always have, my my local setup where I of course use IntelliJ so that I'm quick. And when you're doing local development on your local Jira instance, then you are in a way also spending time focusing on all the error handling, because when you're doing stuff on local, then you may not have, in most cases you will not really have the exact same configurations. So when you do something on local, then move it to staging, and when you do it on staging, then somewhere in the script pass in your actual field names. So try to make your scripts a bit portable so that you can copy and paste, and those scripts should not fail. That is how I try to do it. And again, it really depends on a lot of other factors. You cannot really follow all these best practices or good things, because sometimes you just need to modify something on the fly. Sometimes you have to bypass these processes because maybe it is something urgent. And again, it goes back to the same point that you should treat your Jira configurations and your scripts seriously. And yeah, that is it. I hope you found this video useful and you learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.